Okay, I'm at Sundial Comic Con. They're located here in Reading, and this time the convention is at this hotel right over here, the Red Lion Hotel. So let's take a look inside. We'll walk inside the convention. Here we go. So let's head on in. Okay. Hello, how are you? Hello, how are you? Okay, so I'm going to answer some questions that I asked on Facebook and YouTube. So one of the questions was from Hector Garcia. He wrote, "Hello, what are your favorite tools to perform and inking comics?" So what I'm inking, I like using the quill as well as the brush. I use tech pens and microns. Okay, and next question is from Gary Bruce. What is more preferable, a monthly book or bi-weekly? I figure bi-weekly might pay more, but the quality would come from a monthly since you have more time. I look forward to how you see it, Walden. So a monthly book, yeah, usually when it comes out monthly, but in that case, creators would have more time to work on the book. They'll work on a book more in advance, and then I've also worked on bi-weekly books before, so we would do those maybe 2 months in advance, 3 months in advance, so we have a few issues in the can. So once we have everything done and it's time to release, we'll get more books out there. So the quality is still the same. It's not like we're rushing anything. Next question is from Garrett Suji. Who are your biggest influence in the comic book scene, past and present? Was it about those artists that you admired? So when I was younger, I read books from Marvel, mostly Marvel, and the first time I discovered an artist was an artist named John Byrne, because a classmate was saying, "Oh, this is John Byrne's work." So I would look at his work. Later on, I would see Arthur Adams' work, and without knowing that is him, I just recognized his work. And then when I got older and I read name credits, he was like a big influence. Paul Smith was also a big influence. I was looking at his work before I knew that was his work. Books on X-Men Alpha Flight, X-Men as well. So those are the few artists that I was influenced by. And then when I started working in comics, I was very lucky and I met all of them and worked with them. Okay. Next question. Have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight? So that is a question from Batman, the first movie. So I've never danced with the devil in the pale moonlight. Okay. Next question from Michael Alonzo. Hi Walden. Hope you and your family are doing good. Who's your favorite superhero movie, and who was your favorite comic book artist growing up? My favorite superhero movie, I like Deadpool, because Deadpool is it's a different Marvel movie than anything else. Look at some of the stuff here. It's pretty cool. Okay. And Deadpool's a good movie. Spider-Man's a good movie. And favorite comic book artist growing up, John Byrne and Arthur Adams. They're like really good artists. Next question from Jane Thor. I noticed super wrestler Austin Aries has many people talking about the similarities to Kano or Mortal Kombat. My question, do the artists themselves ever choose or develop the characters themselves based on the real people, or how else? Is the muse or talent chosen from DC Comics characters? he'd be great as a type similar to Captain Planet or Animal Man, of course, my opinion. So the publishers don't really pick the actors that are playing the superheroes. Sometimes the artists will use reference from some of the superheroes, and then they'll draw that in the comic book. So a good example is, I believe, was Ultimate Avengers. There was an artist that was drawing like Captain America, Shield. So when he was drawing Shield, he used Samuel L. Jackson as the reference to draw Shield in the comic books, and this was before any Marvel movies were made. So when it came time to, so when the comic books were coming out, you would see Shield looking like Samuel L. Jackson. So when it came time to cast the movie, naturally the Marvel Studios, they decided to pick Samuel L. Jackson as the actor. So that worked out pretty well. Now all the movies, with actors that comes out, they partly become the characters. So it's not like the actors take over the characters taking over the actors. Okay, next question is from Ray Burke. It doesn't have to be specific ink related. I'd like to address why you seem to be one of the happiest and friendliest artists. People love meeting you because you're such a nice guy. I don't think I'm being nice, I'm just being me. And that's how I am. Besides, I hear that if you're like nice to people, it's easier than being mean. Okay, so check out some of the convention here. So again, this is from Sundial Bridge Comic Con 2019. Next question is, can you shove an egg back into a chicken? I don't know if you want to shove an egg back into a chicken. I've never seen a chicken lay an egg, so that's my answer. Yeah, the question was, someone asked, can you shove an egg back into a chicken? So what would your answer be?
Possibly.
Possibly?
Yes, I'd give it a try if I had to.
But that's pretty scary.
Good question.
Yeah.
Maybe if after it was hard-boiled, peel it.
Hard-boiled, peeled, and when it's soft.
Yeah.
How are you?
We're doing good.
Good?
Yeah.
Good. What's your name?
Juan.
Yeah,
from Candy Punk Studios.
Okay. And here's Juan's work. Juan does really good work over here.
All my doodles.
Very good. A lot of sketch cards, and here's one that Juan's working on. Oh.
We're there.
Yeah.
Working on a commission.
From the Godzilla movie.
Yeah.
Oh, very nice. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very nice.
All right.
Nice meeting you.
So far, we had a great weekend.
You want to plug your social media site?
Yeah, you can come and check us out on Instagram or Facebook.
Okay.
Candy Punk Studios. Check us out, Candy Punk.
Very cool. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
The next question I have from Karen Squares is pineapple on a pizza. Yes, that's called the Hawaiian. So I do like pineapple on a pizza. How are you?
Good.
Okay. And what are you here for?
This is my dad's work.
Your dad's work?
Yep.
Oh, your dad's here?
He wrote this awesome, amazing book
Okay.
called The Warriors Band.
The Warriors Band?
Yep.
Okay. And how do you like it? Have you read your dad's book?
I have read it.
Yeah.
It is awesome. Go read it. And this is all my dad's social. I don't know if they can see it.
Can you read one of them out?
So, follow my dad on Twitter. At author_David McD. And follow his Facebook at David L. McDaniel, author page.
Okay.
And his Instagram is author_David.Lee.McDaniel. As you can see right here.
Awesome. It gets blurry. Awesome. Great. Thank you. Thank you.
It's a good book.
It's a good book.
Yep.
Okay, we'll check it out. Okay, the next question I had was from Bill Evans. I see many artists draw tightly, which maybe makes takes a bit easier for you and how you handle a penciler. Who does draw tightly at all? Do you look up characters for reference or work done by artists that worked with other artists? So there are some artists that draws tightly, and there's some artists that draws loosely. Arthur Adams, he's one of the artists that I work with that draws very, very tightly. Almost everything can be scanned from pencils, but it just looks better inked. Every so often, I do look up characters for reference. For example, when I was working on some of the Star Wars books, I was looking. Marvel was sending me reference of the characters as well as the droids and the spaceships, so I had to like reference those. So even though I'm making, publishers will still send me images of characters and spaceships and backgrounds to work on. So there is that. Okay. Hello. How are you?
Hey, what's going on?
Good.
How you doing, Walden?
Good. Good. How's Kinetic coming along?
Oh, doing fantastic.
Good.
We just got back issue 8.
Okay.
Issue 8 rounds out the story arc. How have you been?
Good.
Are you
last
live?
year. No. This is gonna be recorded and put up on YouTube later. Yeah, so it's good to see you again.
Yeah, no,
I
it's nice to see you, man.
A very colorful booth and banner over here.
Oh, thank you so much.
So if you guys haven't seen Kinetic, check it out. What's your website or social media?
That's www.ycomics.net.
Okay.
You can also find me on Facebook, facebook.com/ycomics.net. Or you can find me at Twitter. That's Seattle_ycomics.
Awesome.
That's the letter Y.
Okay. Awesome.
Comics.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good,
Thanks,
good,
Walden.
to, good to see you again.
Yeah, cheers, bud.
Okay, good. Okay, and then let's. The next question I had from Kieran Squares. Who is Kaiser Soze? So I didn't know who Kaiser Soze is. I went online and Googled Kaiser Soze up, and I guess he's from this TV show called House of Cards. But I've never watched House of Cards, so I don't have an answer to that question. Besides that, he got in trouble. So other than that, that's all I know. The actor who played Kaiser Soze got in trouble. So the next question is from Bill Evans. I actually had another question. What are your splatter techniques? Do you know if you cover this? So I haven't made a video on spatter techniques yet. I plan to. So when I do spatter, I'll use a toothbrush. And I'll also use like a brush. And then there is a special way that I do spatter techniques. Toothbrush, a stick. Sometimes I'll use a cup. Sometimes I'll use a spoon. So there's different techniques. Let's see who this is. See if Garrett's here.
What?
Okay. Here's Garrett. Hey Garrett, how are you?
What up? Good, man.
Here's good. Good to see. Oh yeah, here's Kenny. Okay. Oh, what's
up?
All the artists over here. How are you guys?
Good, man.
Good. You're doing well, I hear.
Yeah.
You're shopping around some deals. And,
Franklin and Ghost.
Would you like to talk about it or not yet? Or you can plug your social media.
I will just say that Franklin and Ghost has been optioned to be an animated TV show.
Oh, very cool.
And we are currently shopping at 2 studios.
Okay.
There's an A-list actor who has signed on to play one of the main characters, as well as some like very prolific voice actors.
Okay.
But yeah, you can find out more information if you follow me on social media at Some Writer Guy on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
At Some Writer Guy. So check out Some Writer Guy.
Yeah.
Okay. And here's Kenny. Yay. Kenny and I, we worked together on a special limited edition print this year.
Yeah, I wish I had it.
Yeah.
I wish I had it on me.
We can show them here. Pretend we have it. It'll be on screen.
Right here.
It's right over here. So check it out. Right over here. Okay, it was a Star Wars piece that I penciled inked, and then Kenny did some colors. Great colors, by the way.
Thanks.
Yeah, and Kenny is a really good artist himself. A really great artist.
Thank you.
Okay, can you tell us about your work?
I'm an acrylic painter. I do a lot of portraits, and I'm working on my first comic book right now called Apex Cybernetic Samurai Al. And it's
Okay.
kind of like a cross between Weapon X and Mega Man.
Oh, very.
And he's a bird.
It's a bird.
Yeah, he's
it's a
an
bird. So it's a little guy.
Yeah, he's like a little owl. He's like a little 4-foot owl, and he's a samurai, and he fights things that are much bigger than him. And
Oh, who controls him?
he fights. He's his own being.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. And do you have social media that you want to plug?
Yeah, I'm at Kenny Aiken Art on like everything. So.
Okay.
That's
Awesome.
AITKEN.
Okay. So check out Kenny over there. All right.
Right on. Thanks,
Great.
Walden.
Thank you. So the next question I have, let's see, from Facebook is from Rajiv. He wrote, given a chance, which artist do you want to ink? So if I had the chance, I would love to work with any of the Kubert brothers, Adam Kubert or Andy Kubert. So I haven't worked with them yet.
Alright, everybody, Comic-Con
okay.
starts in 10 minutes, so prepare yourself. We'll be opening the door in 10 minutes.
Comic-Con starts in 10 minutes. So I'm going to burn through these questions. Okay, so yeah, so artist that I would like to work with is Andy Kubert and Adam Kubert. Next question from Rajiv is, which comic book or series you are most proud of in your career? So I worked on Superman Red Sun. That was over 20 years ago. That's one of the books that I was most proud of because when I was working on it, people didn't really care for it. The editors, the pencilers who were working on it didn't really care for it, but then I was really pumped because it was Superman in Russia. I'll add links below to the comics, so if you wanted to buy some of those, you can check those out. Okay, the next question is, what's your next project? So I've just finished working on Hulk Last Call, working with Dale Keown. That is in stores now, so check that out. And then when Marvel calls me, a lot of times when I'm working on a project, I don't know what my next project is going to be. Also, check this out. This t-shirt. So earlier I was talking to Kenny Aiken. Here's the image that I drew. This is a Star Wars image, right over here. And then they're selling at the booth over here. Very nice. Hello, how are you?
Good, how you doing?
Good, good. Oh wait, here's that exclusive print. Here's the exclusive print. Right over here. Very, very cool. You want to plug Sundial Bridge Comic Con or have anything to say about it?
Oh, come on down, it's great. Bring the kids. Everybody's having a good time.
Yeah, so this is the third year.
Third year in a row, yeah.
Yeah, so it's very nice. This is my second year being at this convention.
To come in and be able to express themselves the way they want and just come and have a good time and buy some products. And
today's the cosplay.
Today is a cosplay contest,
yeah. So that's going to be exciting. I'll film some of the cosplay people. Great, thank you.
It's going to be awesome.
Thank you. Okay, so the next question is, let's see, from Kieran Squares, is there a character you love to work on that you haven't done so yet? I've been working on comics for 20-something years already, and I worked on every comic book character that I would love to work on. So I'm very happy to have worked on all those characters. Next question from Fabrizio. Who's been your biggest artist inspiration or group of artists and inkers? My biggest influence is the people who actually helped me along the way. I mentioned this in my other videos. So Arthur Adams is one of them. I met him at a comic book store and he told me about inking, so I went that direction of inking. And then later on I met Paul Smith, who kind of taught me how to use a brush. You can see that in some of my other videos. And then he's a big influence as well. Okay, so the next question is from D.H. Miller. How about an entire day of life of an inker video? Yes, I'll make a video about an entire life and day of a inker. I'll post that after I'm done making it. Okay, now I have questions on Instagram. So Instagram, someone wrote, well, his name is Somebody Artist. He wrote, did you ever read books on how to draw, and if so, what books? I have read books on how to draw. There's a book from Stan Lee. He is a how to draw comic books the Marvel way. So the book is right over here. And if you're interested, I'll post links below if you want to order that. Okay, next question is from CP Smith. CP Smith, see, what do you listen to when you ink? So I listen to all sorts of music. Sometimes I like just listening to Disney music. Sometimes I just let the TV run in the background. I would be listening to the news. And I also like watching Court TV, because Court TV are like mini stories. But music-wise, just your regular top pop songs that's happening. Did you ever miss a deadline? If so, what happened? Usually I try not to miss any deadlines because it's better to tell your editors in advance that you can't do the project than to hold on to the project and miss the deadlines. Because you can be the best artist you can and do really good work, but if you make a mistake and miss the deadline once, there's a chance that the editor's not gonna think that you're going to be able to hold another deadline and they won't contact you. So I try not to miss any deadlines, and if I can't do the work, then I'll tell the editors in advance. And it's better to give up the work than to try to rush the work or hold on to it and miss the deadline. Next question is from Ace Continuo. Does your third nipple itch when you cross hatch? When I cross hatch, I do have an itchy feeling, but I don't know where the itch is, so I just scratch all over. Okay, next question is from Julian Trujillo. I apologize if I was pronouncing your name wrong. What do you think that is the most important thing as an inker? The most important thing as an inker is to make sure you understand your tools. Understand your tools and know how to use them. So there's quills, brushes, microns, tech pins. Understand the quills. The more you understand it, the more different rendering techniques you can do. And then the last question from Instagram, how much drawings do you do every day? So I draw every day, I ink every day, I do artwork every day. There's not one day that I'm not doing any artwork. When I'm not working in comics, I'm teaching. So when I'm teaching, I'm also doing art. So I'm doing watercolor paintings, acrylics, just all sorts of art. And here we have, here's Joe Weems. this is the famous Joe Williams. This is an artist I studied before I even started working in comics. This is amazing. How are you?
Tired.
Tired?
How are you?
Good, good.
Who am I talking to? Facebook?
Oh, YouTube, which is going to be edited up later. So this is going to be going up there. So on my YouTube channel.
Hi.
And here's Tatiana, right over here. Hey, Tatiana. You still run the artist agency?
Yes.
Do you want to plug it or talk about it?
I own TD Art, which is my company. Here's all my, let me see it.
Okay.
All my information for my website.
tdartgallery.com.
Yep, and I rep several really great comic book artists and illustrators. So
Yeah,
come by
very
and
nice.
check it out.
Yes, check out the website. And Joe, you want to plug yourself as well?
I'm Joe.
No.
Plug me.
Okay.
Wait, what? That didn't come out right.
Oh, let's talk about yourself. Give us a little history.
I'm an illustrator. I'm an inker. I still do it.
Okay.
And I'm here at Sundial Bridge Comic Con having a great time. So,
How did you break into the industry? What made you decide you wanted to work in comics and
New Mutants Special Edition #1 by Arthur Adams. Enough said. I was a kid. I saw it. I said, I want to draw comic books when I grow up. I want to draw them like this guy.
Okay.
And that's it. And I never looked back.
One of the questions I had was, did you want to become an inker? Or
No, no one wants to become an inker. Are you kidding?
That's right.
We all want to be pencilers, but inking wound up being a forum to get into to break into the industry. And then once you're in, it's like, oh, okay, well now I can start penciling. But I got very fortunate to be paired with some of the most amazing talents that this industry has to offer, and I had such a great time inking people like David Finch and Mark Silvestri and Michael Turner that I just never looked back. I do my own illustrations. I used to work for Dark Star Skateboards. I did all of their graphics from 2000 to 2005. I do cover work and all sorts of other stuff. But when it comes to comic books, I like the collaborative effort, as you well know, Walden.
Yes.
That collaborative effort of working with another penciler, especially if it's one of your heroes, someone that you admire and you love, whose pencils you love. Being able to work with them is just a fantastic treat. So.
And you learn a lot from the pencilers that you work with.
Absolutely, you can't help but absorb some of their knowledge because you're inking directly over their pencils. So when you're doing that, you're like, oh, okay, so that's how Mark figures out how to lay his shadows in or render his form, or that's how Dale, creates those, the big sweeping, strokes that define the muscle structure and whatnot. It's like you absorb that, you take it in. It's great.
And how did you become an inker? Like, how did you get your foot in the door?
San Diego Comic Con. Well, I did a independent book in 1993 called The Black Pearl #2. Find it, I dare you.
Look for it.
Yeah, I dare you. And with that, I was able to go to San Diego Comic Con that year because the biggest trick to getting in the industry is, to get published work, you have to have published work. So I figured I would do this one issue so I could go to the Comic Con and say, hey, I have published work. That's exactly what I did.
Mm-hmm.
I had all my portfolio sample packets with me, and I waited in all of the portfolio review lines. I talked to editors, and I actually left Comic-Con in, I think it was the summer of '94, thinking that I was getting work at DC Comics. They basically told me, after the portfolio review line, yeah, we have work for you, and we'll be contacting you. So I was very excited. And on the very last day of the show, I happened to wander by the Harris Comics booth. The Vampirella model was right in the middle of changing out of her jeans into her Vampirella outfit, and I figured I'd stop by and check that out.
Oh, very nice.
I'm 18 at the time, 17, 18, so it seemed good to me. And sure enough, one of the guys behind the table saw my portfolio and said, hey, are you an artist? And I said, oh yeah, I'm an inker. And he said, well, do you have samples? And I had one last sample packet on me, and I said, yeah, sure. I just tossed him my last one.
Wow.
And took one last look at the booth and went about my way. And they were the company that contacted me.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. Melanie Crawford Chadwick at Harris Comics gave me a call not too long after that and offered me some work on Vengeance of Vampirella. And that was it. That was my first mainstream comic work, and it just escalated from there.
Okay.
So.
You did a lot of work for Top Cow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you started at Top Cow, but
Oh,
how did
no.
you get into Top Cow?
No, the funny thing
From
is,
Harris?
I was one of the few guys that Top Cow brought in that already had published work and been working for a couple
Okay.
years at that time. I started working at Top Cow in '95, but at that point I had a good year and a half of Harris under my belt, some extreme freelance work. I was living in Huntington Beach. Rob Liefeld's Extreme Studios was in Anaheim, and because of the work at Harris, I was able to get fill-in work there. And I would just drive down to the office once a week, pick up a bunch. They had a box of like pages from random books that needed to get done that week, and they're like, "Hey, just take however many you can do." And I would just thumb through them and take 5 or 6 pages a week, and from random projects over there, ink them up and then drive them back the next week, drop them off, and do it all over again.
Yeah.
And because of that, and and I always went to San Diego Comic-Con. First as a fan, and then as a professional. So that following year, '95, I went down there, and that's when I met Mark Silvestri.
Oh, very nice.
And talked to him, talked to Brian Haberlin, and they...
how did you bump into Mark Silvestri? It was just walking around, or...?
I saw him at one of the the Fantagraphics after-hour party.
Okay.
I saw him there. It was like out on a golf course. And I saw him walk by. I was like, oh, that's Mark Silvestri. Should go talk to him. So I did. And the rest is history.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
Yeah. And then they gave me a call, a few weeks after that show, and they were located in Santa Monica. It was about 45 minutes north of where I lived. So a lot of it, I think, had to do with convenience of location. I happened to be in the central hub. Homage Studios was about an hour and a half south of me. Anaheim was 15 minutes inland, and Top Cow was 45 minutes north of me. So I could just bounce around to these different studios easy enough and pick up work and meet with the people, the other artists and editors, and so on and so forth.
That's very, very cool.
But it was Top Cow that really established me, and that's where I did the majority of my comic book work in the 90s, and I loved those guys. I absolutely loved working for them. They were just the best.
Yes, yeah. At the time when Joe was working at Top Cow, I was studying all his lines. I would pick up his books and just look at the lines, not even caring about who the penciler was, just the lines and how he approached it. So some of the questions one of the questions I get asked a lot is, who is your artistic influence? I know you mentioned Arthur Adams.
Oh yeah,
earlier.
Arthur Adams.
Was
Number
there
one. Number one guy. Yeah, I mean that's it in a nutshell.
Okay, so no other artists along the way?
There was plenty of artists who I admired. The early stuff would have been Arthur Adams and Michael Golden. Like those were the first two pencilers whose work really resonated with me as a kid. Like I saw it and I was like, oh, this is definitely a step above, or it's different, or it's unique, right? And so that really inspired me. Then more as a teenager, Jim Lee on X-Men, like Punisher War Journal first. I really liked what he was doing there. And then when he took over X-Men, it was like, oh, well, that's really cool too. It wasn't as dark or as gritty. He wasn't using as much shadows as he did on Punisher War Journal, but it was still so dynamic. And he was like an amalgamation of all these fantastic artists, like a little bit of Neil Adams, a little bit of John Byrne, a little of Art Adams, and just kind of tweaked it into his own thing. And it was just really just fantastic. And of course, Mark Silvestri was, in my opinion, the strongest of the Image co-founders. And I think all of the co-founders, agree hands down that Mark is the most talented of the group. So even his stuff when Dan Green was inking him, there was something in it that was just so amazing. That I loved growing up.
I still think that you're the best inker who's ever inked Mark Silvestri.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm a big fan of Bat's inks over Mark were a huge influence on me as well. And that once I started working professionally, then you meet these guys, and as far as inkers go, Scott Williams is the number one guy. Straight up.
Scott Williams, yes.
He revolutionized comic book inking as we know it. And after that, if there was no Scott Williams, there would be no Art T. Bear, there would be no Dan Panosian, there would be no Matt Banning, there would be no Jonathan Sabal, there would be no Joe Weems, etc. We all are just we're all just derivative of Scott when it really comes down to it. We might have made the Image line a little bit unique of our own, But
it all started from Scott.
starts from Scott. Right?
Yeah.
And then, working at Top Cow and seeing Matt, actually being able to stand over his shoulder while he was working.
Wow.
And just see how he approaches the line.
You started at the same time with Matt.
Well, I mean, he was already established. I think when my first day at the studio, Misery #1 was the comps for that had just come in, which meant they were coming out the following week. But we at the studio would get them the week before, you know.
Okay.
And he was very, very excited to have that book out and being able to. So he was in a great mood, and being able to hang out with him and talk to him and establish a friendship with him as well has just been absolutely amazing. So because again, he had been inking Mark, you know, for about probably the better part of a year at that point, and you know, seeing the way he was approaching the Image line was very cool and very different, very unique.
Yeah.
You know, definitely an influence for sure.
Oh, very cool. So when you started reading comic books way early, did you know artists worked on it, or you were just looking at it? And when was? Oh, from the get-go.
Yeah, from the get-go.
Okay.
John Byrne, Terry Austin.
John Byrne as well.
Yeah, probably were some of the early artists whose stuff stood out to me. I mean, obviously, that run on Uncanny X-Men was just incredibly influential. And then people like Barry Windsor Smith, you know, did some fill-in issues on it, and that really, you know, then once you start seeing these artists and you kind of
start following them.
Yeah, like once their art resonates with you, and you start seeking out their books. Yeah. Right. So I remember when Valiant came along and Barry started doing work over there. You know, you just start picking up his books he does there.
Yeah.
And that's when I stopped collecting comics as a series. Yeah. And I started following artists.
Yes, that's right.
And even to this day, whenever if I pick up books, it's like, okay, what's Sean Gordon Murphy doing? All right, I'm gonna go pick that up because I like his art. Oh, did Arthur do a cover for Guardians of the Galaxy? I'm gonna pick that up because I like Arthur's covers.
Yeah, regardless of what they worked on.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yes.
So
Oh, very cool. So do you have social media that you wanna do?
I mean, I'm on Facebook.
On Facebook?
That's probably it. Just Joe Weems V on Facebook. They don't let you do the number 5, so it's just a V like a Roman numeral.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh, very cool.
I mean, I'm on Twitter as well, but I don't really utilize it. And I'm not on Instagram because my phone sucks. So.
Okay.
Sorry.
Great. It's good talking to you. This is a nice interview. Thank you. Thank you.
Seeing you, Walden.
Thank you. Talk to you soon. So that was Joe Williams. That was a very nice interview. So I'm gonna go back to my booth. Here's my booth at the convention, right over here. Here's my area. Just like that. And there we go. So the convention's gonna start soon. I'm gonna gear up, and any questions, comment down below. Please like, share, subscribe to my channel. And until next time, hope you enjoy these videos and the rest of my other videos. And when you have time, check out my Patreon page, check out my website, and check out all my other social medias. Thanks again, and have a good time. Bye-bye. to make these costumes?
Around 13, 14 hours.
13, 14 hours?
Yeah. For this cosplay, it took 3 weeks to make, and then the wings, it took a month.
And last year you were dressed as?
Just steampunk.
Steampunk, and you were?
I was Miss Pennywise.
Yes, yeah, I'll put up videos of that, so check that out. So anything you want to say, you want to plug your social media, or?
Yeah, I'm Negan on Instagram. Like my edits.
Okay, how you spell that?
Y-A-E.
Okay.
Y-E-A.
Y-E-A? Okay.
Negan.
Okay, and?
Dark Skies, Bright Stars.
Dark Skies, Bright Stars. Is that Instagram or all the social media?
Instagram.